Governor of Delhi and the Chief Minister of Delhi. This is to review the COVID-19 situation in the NCT of Delhi. Strengthening of containment measures, ramping up testing, adequate health infrastructure preparedness. These were all discussed at this meeting, and the meeting lasted for nearly 75 minutes. Here's our report.
With over 2,000 positive cases reported in the country's capital Delhi on Saturday and 128 fatalities in 48 hours of Friday and Saturday, the central government stepped in to help the people and the government of Delhi to contain the spread of coronavirus and control the situation. Union Home Minister and Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan held a meeting with Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal. Also present were several senior officers from the state and the centre. The focus of the meeting was to strengthen containment measures, increase testing and boost health infrastructure to meet the challenge of rising number of cases. After the meeting, Union Home Minister asserted that the Modi government is committed to containing coronavirus spread in Delhi. He shared several key decisions taken in the interest of the people of Delhi on Twitter. Key among the decisions are immediate allocation of 500 railway coaches to help meet the shortage of beds. Testing will be doubled over the next 2 days. To ensure contact mapping in containment zones, a massive door-to-door health survey will be conducted. On Saturday, the Ministry of Health issued revised guidelines on clinical management of COVID-19. The decisions taken on Sunday for Delhi are in keeping with the principle of micromanaging handling of COVID-19 in metro cities. Experts agree that key to containing the spread of the virus is testing, tracking and treatment.
अपनी जो शहर है उसके लिए एक माइक्रो प्लानिंग करनी पड़ेगी क्योंकि यहाँ पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी ज़्यादा है, लोग एक कमरे में 5-6 लोग रह रहे हैं, बाथरूम टॉयलेट वो शेयर करते हैं, दूर नहीं रह पाते, तो यहाँ पे हमें ऐसे कुछ स्ट्रेटजी बनानी पड़ेगी कि इन लोगों को शिफ्ट करके हम ऐसी फैसिलिटी में डालें जहाँ से ये आगे इन्फेक्शन ना फैलाएं। इन एरियाज को हम कैसे सैनिटाइज कर सकते हैं, जो हाई रिस्क ग्रुप हैं उनको हम क्या अलग रख सकते हैं जिससे उनको इन्फेक्शन ना हो और डेथ रेट ना बढ़े। तो इन शहरों के लिए हमें एक अपनी तरफ से नई प्लानिंग करनी पड़ेगी।
Testing is important. Testing sometimes can take while because of access, but while that is being awaited, people should isolate themselves. People with mild symptoms should stay isolated so that they don't affect others. People who are in contact with others who don't yet have symptoms should also isolate themselves.
In another meeting, Union Home Minister interacted with mayors and municipal commissioners of all the three of Delhi's civic bodies in the presence of the CM and the LG of Delhi. Meanwhile, the Delhi government has ordered all nursing homes in the city with 10 to 49 beds to start treating COVID-19 patients. Only standalone eye centers, ENT centers, dialysis centers, maternity homes and IVF centers will be exempt from this order. There are about 700 nursing homes in the city, most of which have around 20 beds, according to estimates by the Delhi Medical Association. Action will be initiated against nursing homes that fail to do so. The order says that complete nursing homes have been converted to COVID hospitals in order to prevent intermixing of COVID and non-COVID patients. It is projected that there would be a requirement of over 15,000 COVID beds till the 30th of June, and by the end of the first fortnight of July, the requirement will further swell up to more than 33,000 COVID beds. In terms of the number of cases, Delhi currently stands at number 3 with 22,742 active cases as of 8 a.m. on 14th June. Visudhakar Das, News Night Desk, DD News.
So in an update to that story, in compliance with orders of the Home Ministry and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, it has been directed that bodies of the suspected COVID-19 cases should be handed over to relatives immediately without waiting for lab confirmation. The bodies are to be disposed of with precaution as per the Health Ministry guidelines dated 15/3/2020. So that's an update. So let's take a look now at this strategy to halt COVID-19 in Delhi. We'll first take a look at this important meeting and the key decisions taken at this meeting. So the Home Minister, Amit Shah, had chaired this crucial meeting, as we know, with the Delhi government and also with other representatives. The meeting was convened to arrest the spread of the coronavirus in Delhi, which we know is gathering some steam, and the numbers are increasing quite fast. The Union Health Minister, the Delhi Lieutenant Governor, Delhi Chief Minister were present, important dignitaries, and these were some of the key decisions taken at this meeting. The COVID-19 tests at every polling station in containment zones. This is being looked at. Also, comprehensive house-to-house health surveys in the hotspots, which are the containment zones. The Arogya Setu app is going to be downloaded during the surveys in the hotspots, and the Modi government will immediately provide 500 adapted railway coaches. All these coaches will have all the facilities, and the number of beds will be increased by 8,000 as a result of that. Testing, as we said, is going to be doubled now in 2 days, and also after that it will be increased thrice or threefold. It will be in 6 days. Senior AIIMS doctors will be giving all possible advice to the hospitals in Delhi. That's another aspect. The helpline numbers will be issued for the advice to other hospitals as well. And private hospitals will reserve 60% of COVID beds at reduced rates. Dr. V.K. Paul committee to determine the capping of rates for testing and treatment. That's important. Dr. Paul committee will submit its report by Monday. Now, some key guidelines to be issued for last rites. That will, as we know, I have just in fact updated you on that. Services of Scouts and Guides, NCC, NSS, NGOs to be used. 6 senior central government officers to help the Delhi government, and the centre will be supplying oxygen cylinders, ventilators, pulse oximeters to the Delhi government. A joint team of doctors will be visiting COVID-designated hospitals for an update. The team will be from the Union Government, the Delhi Health Departments, and AIIMS. There will be 3 municipal corporations, also representatives. They'll be preparing a report after inspecting the COVID hospitals. So Amit Shah has directed the central government, the Delhi government, also all 3 municipal corporations to ensure proper implementation of all these decisions taken. Also to ensure proper implementation of the house-to-house survey, the corona testing, etc. at the lowest level there. And Amit Shah has also said that work together to win the fight against corona with mutual coordination, and he has directed the Delhi Police Commissioner to ensure all guidelines are enforced strictly. So we're going to take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll be discussing all this with a guest. Do stay with us.
इनमें से एक है आपका डिटर्जेंट और एक फेना, तो कौन सा बेहतर है? ये है ज्यादा सफेद फेना।
100 में से 70 लोगों ने फेना सुपर वॉश को अपने डिटर्जेंट से बेहतर पाया है।
अब आप भी लीजिए फेना सफेदी चैलेंज और खुद कहना फेना ही लेना।
फेना कपड़ों से हटाए कीटाणु, इंडिया में बना गर्व के साथ।
हमारा डेजर्ट आ गया पर हमारी चैंपियन नहीं आई अब तक।
बिल भरने के पहले तो आएगी ना।
सो गर्ल्स, क्या हो रहा है? बिल हो रहा है। चल अपना कार्ड दे। पिन दे।
RBI कहता है अपना पिन, OTP, CVV या इंटरनेट बैंकिंग पासवर्ड किसी को ना दे। ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग सिर्फ अपने ही कंप्यूटर, मोबाइल और सिक्योर नेटवर्क से करे। हाँ, ये खाने की चैंपियनशिप थी क्या? RBI कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
पक्की होगी बुनियादें तो हंसे हिंदुस्तान होगा। पहले करो शुरुआत करो, करो तो पक्की बात करो। पहले करो शुरुआत करो, करो तो पक्की।
वंडर सीमेंट, एक परफेक्ट शुरुआत।
So that brings us to our In Focus point, and in focus tonight is this. In focus is the Delhi mega plan to arrest COVID-19, and we are privileged to have with us Dr. Raman R. Gangakhetkar, the senior scientist, epidemiology at ICMR. Thank you very much, sir. It's always a privilege to talk to you. So we are looking at good numbers now also, so we can start on the positive side that we have so many recoveries. We've crossed a 50% mark, and the numbers continue to increase. What does this indicate, sir? Does it say that, symptomatic treatment is working? Because we don't seem to have a cure for this virus, but, people are getting well.
Yeah, I think basically it is pointing towards one fact, that the case fatality rate, that is the likelihood of occurrence of an event like death in all these infected individuals, that proportion is very, very low. And that's the reason why you find that your recovery rates continue to be increasing and they are higher. But at the same time, one must also keep at the back of mind
Yes.
that when you have new infections which are also increasing, those who have these symptoms which fall under this suspected category, these people should come forward, try to access testing, get themselves tested, and the doctor will then decide whether the person needs admission, whether he can be in home and isolated. And if he needs admission, the provision of treatment is not all that gloomy, despite the fact that you don't have specific effective treatment that you need to provide for any disease against COVID-19. But still, there is a big hope that majority of those who tend to get admitted may come out unscathed as such.
Yes, yes, Dr. Ketkar. So the people have to be prepared because the numbers are increasing, as you said, and so 8,000 more beds in Delhi, because we are focusing largely on Delhi. This is an important step. The question is, would they just be basically isolation beds, or would someone require much more? Maybe even oxygen treatment as well as ventilator support at some stage.
As has been released in the press, Honorable Home Minister has already said that these coaches, railway coaches, would have a facility of providing oxygen.
Yes.
Which essentially means, if you look at those who tend to get admitted, a large majority of them will be those who may at its worst require oxygen. Their requirement of oxygen may be higher and therefore they need to get admitted. Only a very small fraction tends to require ventilators as such. So where you need to have active care in intensive care units itself. So what will essentially happen is those who have milder symptoms which require some medical attention, those who only require oxygen as such as a treatment part, they may get admitted in those coaches. Right. And since they are under observation, if there is any worsening that is seen, they could be immediately referred to a hospital where intensive care facilities, including ventilators, which have already been made available across the country, they would also be available there.
Indeed. And so now also with regard to the containment zones, there's going to be a lot more testing that is going to be done and house-to-house surveys. This is an important aspect because this was actually planned right at the beginning. But, when the numbers increase, it's going to be quite difficult to execute. But it's important because it will at least tell us, how the virus is spreading and how it can be contained. But, what is to ramp up testing, because we have to double it in 2 days as per this plan and then increase it threefold in 6 days.
Yeah, basically one has to understand one issue. It's when you think in terms of increasing access to testing, one of the barriers that we also face is those who are symptomatic. They are likely to perceive that they could be found as infected, and there could be a stigma that might come to them because they are found as infected, and that stigma could also be extended to their own families. People in the society would not mix up with that family for quite some time. Now, there are two things. One is occurrence of a symptom, and by and large, we tend to, as human beings, we tend to have a fear so much when we don't have any effective treatment or curative remedy available for any disease. We tend to say that let us postpone. If I go there, I might be found as infected, and then I don't have any treatment that could be given which would be specific for that disease. So people tend to come late. People may avoid coming to the hospitals because of social stigma. And at the same time, one must also realize that the capacity utilization, even in Delhi, for testing continues to be leaving a chance that they could get themselves tested by RT-PCR. Now, in order to reduce that load and ensure that all those who are infected, largely which they reside in these containment zones, can be detected and offered the facility of testing right at the doorstep itself.
Okay.
What will be done is, in these containment zones, the teams will go house to house and they will try to find out who among these family members, if they are sick, and if they are sick, they will be asked to come to the polling booth, and there they will be offered a test which can be done only in 15 minutes time. So essentially, if I go there, I might lose a time of close to about, let's assume maximally about half an hour. Whereas if I was to be offered RT-PCR test,
Yes.
I would have required the testing procedure last generally from 3 hours to 6 hours. 3
Okay.
hours for somebody who may be found as negative, 6 hours for confirmation. Time would be reduced to a larger extent. It can be done even in a polling booth. It's a simpler test which can be read by any health worker once he is trained about it. And then what will happen is, if somebody is found positive, depending on his health status, the decision could be taken whether he needs hospitalization, whether he should be referred to the railway coaches which are going to be pressed into service for Delhi, or if it turns out to be negative, then since this particular test also tends to have lower sensitivity, and this individual who has been asked to come for testing is having some symptom, the traditional RT-PCR test will be offered to this individual. And if he is found positive, appropriate action will be taken. So there will be no stone that will be unturned to find out whether a symptomatic individual would be having this particular infection, by which we will detect more. Once you detect, contact tracing becomes better. Once you go for contact tracing, isolation as an exercise could be perhaps rigorously followed by all. And once they tend to isolate for 2 weeks period, those who are asymptomatic, or even others who would learn that perhaps I need to expose myself less and lesser to this particular infection, you might find that in a shorter period of time, the success story that you are seeing from Dharavi, where the strategy was chase the virus.
Yes.
And how do you chase the virus? You go into those densely populated areas and try to go for surveillance, door-to-door surveillance, and offer testing. That approach will become successful. And I'm sure over at its worst, let's say a month's time, you might see Delhi will have far lower burden of disease in terms of active disease that is occurring in Delhi.
That's quite amazing, Dr. Ganga Ketkar. But the test that you're talking about now is, what is it, a sero-survey type of test? Because you're not talking about the RT-PCR test. Is it a blood test? What kind of test is it?
No, this is not a blood test. A swab will be taken from the throat, nasopharyngeal or throat swab will be taken. And once that swab will be taken, viral will be put on it. So there will be some solution that will come, in cruder words. And this particular solution will be put on the test kit, and it's like a pregnancy test that people must have seen. You put it on that, and you will see development of line. And based on those lines, when they light up, you will decide whether there is presence of antigen of this COVID-19 in the sample that was collected in the swab. If the test comes out as negative, then in that case, they will be offered, the same sample will be taken for RT-PCR testing. So essentially, it's a simpler test, which can be actually, it's like a card test. So you will require 15 minutes time. Once you put the solution on this particular kit, you will see the results within 15 minutes time.
Oh, that's great. So the testing then is going to be vastly improved. But if we have to talk about pricing also, because the entire care has to be affordable, one of the recommendations is that 60% of the COVID beds in private hospitals will be at reduced rates. This is going to be, a report is going to be presented on this as well. How important is this? Because at the end of the day, you know, I mean, people are suffering because of, let's say, they feel that, you know, they could be that there's too much money involved.
I agree. No, one of the things which we must remember, people tend to be worried. Where would they get admitted? Would there be a capacity that will exist in the public sector hospitals that they could get admitted there? They also explore for different options. And if they are going to explore an option and choose that they want to go to a private hospital, affordability of care, affordability of services is extremely important, because all of us know that in India, if somebody gets admitted with a major illness, the expenditures are likely to be catastrophic expenditures, which may push even people below poverty line. So affordability of care becomes an important issue, and that will be negotiated by Professor V.K. Paul's committee with the private hospitals, and hopefully we will have rates which will perhaps be far more affordable than what we are hearing as of now.
Also, with the supply of oxygen cylinders, ventilators, pulse oximeters, the government of India has said that they would supply these to the Delhi government. This ultimately is the crux of the treatment, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's oxygen that is the difference between people who don't make it and people who make it in the pretty bad cases.
Yeah, that is right. Say increase if the state's requirement is going to increase for oxygen dramatically because the number of cases are going to increase, the center has given an assurance that we will be willing to provide you as much oxygen that you require. So they would not have that kind of worry if the numbers increase. From where am I going to get the oxygen? So both together will be a formidable force in providing the oxygen to these people whose requirement tends to increase with COVID-19. To my mind, provision of pulse ox would also be extremely important tool, because if people tend to stay at home as in isolation, the pulse ox will be able to tell the healthcare worker who may come to check the oxygen level in that individual, it will indicate to us whether the person requires hospitalization or being sent to the rail coaches which are being converted as temporary hospitals there. Okay. Now, if that is the case, it will definitely benefit, because early detection of those who require hospitalization would occur quickly with provision of pulse ox. And if pulse oximeter is being taken out and provided by the center, I'm sure it will reduce the delays in provision of right kind of care as well as quality care to all the patients. So the mortality rates will drop down tremendously.
You did mention, Dr. Ganga Kedkar, that people are maybe afraid of the stigma and they're not coming forward to be tested. So they are actually looking after themselves at home, in a sense, some people with milder symptoms. What is the kit that people should have at home to be able to have home isolation and looking after themselves there? What's the basic things, the requirements that they need to have at home?
No, I would not ideally advise a person not to get tested and stay at home.
No, of course, you've asked them to be tested, but I'm saying that in case people have to be looking after themselves at home.
Yeah, if they have to look after themselves, there are two things which we have to do. One is measurement of temperature, and the second is pulse oximeter being used to assess the oxygen level in the blood. Now, if the pulse ox tends to show that your oxygen level in the blood is less than 94, you need to get worried, you need to get admitted, since it cannot be managed at home. If you tend to develop fever, now that's something which is a pointer that perhaps you will not be able to handle actively all by yourself. You may have to take a medical consultation, and they will decide where you should be sent depending on the pulse ox readings as well as temperature among those who are staying at home and are asymptomatic. otherwise.
Right. Actually, people who have pulse oximeters at home are the ones they tend to check too often and get paranoid. Panic is also one of the big issues when you have these kind of equipment at home. But to tell us a little bit also, Doctor, about Dr. Ganga Kedkar, about the use of the Arogya Setu app and its necessity and how it's been helping us in dealing with the containment of this virus, sir.
I think Arogya Setu app is a must for all of us. The sole reason why we should be using Arogya Setu is, one, we all know that we don't have any treatment against this particular disease, which could be called as effective curative treatment. And therefore, what is important is we will have to think in terms of application of non-pharmacological interventions as much as possible.
Yes.
And if that is the story, then I need to know whether I am coming in contact with somebody who could be infected, because it is possible the person may not tell you, it is possible that you do not know it and then accidentally you come across people. So Arogya Setu tends to reduce your vulnerability to a larger extent. And Arogya Setu, as people have been getting worried whether the data, which is a confidential data, could go out and could be used for other purposes as well, even that risk has been told by the government that it is stored only for 15 minutes and it will never be used for those purposes. The third use of this Arogya Setu is you will be able to assess your own risk by yourself. Instead of going to a doctor by yourself based on whatever conditions, you could actually enter that data and find out what is the risk level for you. So all these three things are extremely useful and people should use it as much as possible.
Now you're a person who's involved with a deeper analysis of the epidemic itself and of virology. But so people look at the cure, and I know there are a lot of vaccines that are candidates. People are waiting eagerly because otherwise they are constantly thinking, how am I to avoid this virus? But until they have a cure or until they have a vaccine, we are not going to be as comfortable living our lives as we should. So, what's the progress that people will want to know?
I would say one thing, the people need not panic. People should not lose their courage. They must remember one thing, every effort is being made on each front by our own Indian scientists here. You must remember that one of the indigenous vaccines that has been developed within is already being tested among animals, and you might soon find that within 1 or 1.5 months time, this vaccine will also be rolled out. Given that the animal toxicity data is really good, it may be rolled out into human trials per se. In addition, there are 2 other vaccines which are imported vaccines, which would also be tested among in human beings, because their animal data is currently available, and even that effort might start in another 1.5 months time. But all these vaccine trials are essentially going to require about 6 months time. Okay. So one should not think that once the trial starts, maybe that vaccine could be marketed and people will be provided that vaccine very early. You still will require about 6 months time. The reason why I'm telling this is, if I assume that you would have about 7 months time to get a vaccine, if it comes out as successful, you have to ensure that you will protect yourself as well as your own family to prevent the risk of acquiring this particular infection within your own family setup. And those rules are not very difficult to do. One must also keep a caution one's own mind that when lockdown is being lifted partially or in phases, one must remember lifting lockdown doesn't mean full freedom is being given to people to do whatever they want. You are actually becoming the most responsible person, the frontline warrior for yourself and your own family. You have to ensure that you protect through your change in behavior practices yourself, your family members, and the old people in your family, the pregnant women if they are there in your household, or children below 10 years by wearing these masks, safe distance, cough etiquettes, and then hand washing whenever you touch such surfaces which have been touched by many people. Over.
A final question, Dr. Ganga Ketkar, about testing again, because testing is at the RT-PCR level is about 4,500 rupees. It's still pretty steep for a lot of people, can we see other forms of testing which are much more reasonable for people who can then come forward to do that, to have that test done? Or we can, are there going to be antibody tests that are going to be allowed? The ELISA test for some, in case we have a much higher level of accuracy in these tests in the future?
Now, there are two things which I would definitely state. When you speak about rupees 4,500 as the cost of test, please remember what ICMR issued was the upper cap.
Okay.
Health being the state subject, the state governments are expected to negotiate the price with the private players since there are some people who may not like to access it, which is free in government setups as far as RT-PCR test is concerned. The state government may go ahead and try to negotiate these rates which could be affordable. Some of the states have definitely gone ahead and done that, and it has come into the realm of about 2,200 or 2,300 rupees per test as such. But would we be in a position to use far more cheaper tests like the blood test that you talked about, ELISA test or rapid antibody test or even antigen test? We may need to wait. So far what we have understood is these tests cannot be used for diagnosis of an individual, whether the person is infected or not, but these tests are good to try and look at the trend, that is the trend of this particular infection in a containment zone. If I find that there are about 10% people who are currently infected there, and I follow up with a survey, let's say 3 weeks later, and I find that that trend could be either declining or increasing, so accordingly, I can take different kinds of steps to contain this particular infection. Currently, the rapid tests or antibody tests that we generally speak about are not to be used for individuals' diagnosis of COVID-19. It's only RT-PCR test. If you cannot afford it, please go to the public sector hospital. There it will be provided free of cost.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ganga Ketkar, for being with us here on Newsnight and helping us to understand so many things that, will help clear a lot of doubts in people's minds. Thanks for being with us. Moving on to our next story.